I gotta tell you, I was John's Navy SEAL instructor. I went through my closet and there it was. Drop down. But it's great to be with you, and a couple things. One is everyone needs to take a deep breath. I know it looks grim about our country, but I haven't seen anything that's not fixable. All right, so that's the good thing. And I always hear, people, well, who's to blame? The Democrats? You know who's to blame is us. This is what happens when we don't pay attention. Because the government doesn't run by itself, and when it does, it goes in bad spots, as we see. And the SEALs kind of approach things in a 5-paragraph. Is there any veterans in here? Army? Thank you, sir. Well, 5-paragraph, right? So what do we look at in the situation? Let's be honest, all right? Foreign shores. It's a disaster. Our enemies don't fear us. Our allies don't trust us. Probably beginning from Afghanistan. We're $130 billion in Ukraine. $130 billion. And there's no plan, and there's no objectives. Not articulated. And I've been there, and I've asked the foreign dignitaries, I've asked the president, and what's the objectives? We have Israel. We have Iran launches ICBMs as a result of the Obama nuclear treaty. Don't forget that. The same people who run this country now. Yes. So they launch ICBMs and drone strikes at mass, and what do? We launch missiles and hit porta potties in the desert, which is, from a SEAL, that's about the most ineffective target in the Middle East, because they don't use toilet paper. And obviously Israel's in trouble. And this administration, I think, quite frankly, I'm gonna shut this off. I should have known that.
That's Joe Biden.
Yeah. Actually, President Trump, this morning conversation, he sent me here because we said up front, we got to get John McGuire in.
Yes.
But you look at, we got Israel on fire, we got Ukraine, we got Venezuela. Any Marines from the halls of Montezuma? We may go back. And then we have China, and we're just warming up. Then domestically, we don't have a border. All right, I've been down there many times, and this is our border. All right, someone comes across, invited, by the way, and they raise their hand and say, "I live in fear. I live in fear." At that point in time, you're an asylum seeker, and you're taken in. You're given a medical examination. If there's something wrong, they'll send you to the hospital on you. Then they'll come back to a processing state, area, and in the processing statement, they'll get you some sleep, they'll wash your clothes, get you fed, get you processed. You're out on a plane somewhere in the United States within 22 hours. The piece of paper. You get a job within 60 days, and you go in this network of dark money. We don't have a border. We have no idea who's in this country, but we're feeling it. All right, there may be 21 million people in this country. We don't know who they are. And you talk about housing, you talk about medical, you talk about crime, you talk about drug trafficking. In beautiful, beautiful Virginia, this town, there's drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and child trafficking. Very similar to Billings, Montana. So that's where we are as a country. And what are we going to do about it? There's only one path, and this is what I see as our 3 main objectives. One is we got to maintain the House. If we don't maintain the House, I can tell you the first thing that's going to happen is Donald Trump's going to get impeached. But we got to maintain the House. Now we're 218 and we're different, and the House is rough and rumble, and I kind of like it. But also from a SEAL perspective, you can't have snipers inside the perimeter. And I grew up in Ronald Reagan. I love, never say anything ill about another Republican, but there are exceptions. And I got to tell you, Mr. Good is the exception. And President Trump and I both have talked about it long and hard, and we've come to the conclusion that Bob Good is destructive. He's destructive with the Republican Party. He's been destructive with Congress. He's been destructive in the Freedom Caucus. And I have many, many friends in the Freedom Caucus, and he has been destructive in that caucus. And we are absolutely sure that he will be destructive of American First. So we got to hold the House.